Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get ready to
She had a ball, and she was bulldozing them all by herself. To my future husband, if you're listening to this, I might be saying shit that you weren't expecting.
Hello. I'm Suswana.
Oh, and I'm. I'm Paul. Oh gosh.
Okay, well, let's try that one more time.
Yes.
Hello. I'm Suswana.
And I'm Paul.
Are you ready to mumble?
Yes.
Amazing. This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I know. It's always fun with you. It's always good.
I appreciate you being on here. We met at an album release party
Oh, yeah. Wow.
in 2018.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it seems like so long ago. That's
I
wild.
had just done a college performance and then went over to this party, and I was like one of the first people there.
Mm-hmm.
I met Sita, who starred in Dawat, and I think, did she invite you to the party?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then
You met her the same night?
I met her the same night.
Yo, y'all. I felt like y'all were just like the oldest of friends.
I know.
Wow.
Well, we both had a lot of whiskey in us.
Yeah, that works. That's how it works.
But
Yeah.
it was awesome because, so like I said, I had just performed, and it was like a Bengali New Year's performance.
Nice.
And so I was in my shadi. I don't remember if I
I do. Yeah.
And
It was
I
dope.
was up in that album release party just grinding.
Yeah.
In a shoddy.
That was the shit. I thought those were your swag. I didn't even I was like, bet. Yes. Like, I was feeling it. It was dope.
And I remember, and you were a really good dancer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were with your then girlfriend at the time,
Indeed. Yeah.
who I didn't know was your girlfriend.
Really?
And I don't know if you remember this.
What?
But I started dancing on you.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. That was fun. That was great. Yeah. Like, she was totally down for it, too. She was like, yes, go have fun. This is great.
But then Sita pulled me away because she was like, no, they're together. And I was like,
Yeah.
my bad.
That
I
great,
was
though.
like, well,
Mhm.
here is me. I'm polyamorous. Welcome.
Yes. Oh, and same here, too. Like,
Yeah.
which is like great. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
But and then the next day was when I finally realized Sita was an actor and you're a
Director and producer.
and producer. And then we started talking about the work that we were doing, but it wasn't until 2019, the end of 2019,
yeah.
that we finally actually sat down
Yeah.
to talk about Willow.
Right. Fuck. Damn. That was around the fall.
Yeah.
I remember that.
You lost all of your gear.
Yes. Oh my God. That was terrible. That was
You want to tell that story?
Yeah. All right. So, make a long story short, this is maybe 4 or so months after coming back from living in Kenya for 2 months. And then I basically lived in Haiti for a month. And then I came back to New York for 2 weeks and went to St. Louis. And then that was for my granddad's 100th birthday. I had a lot of great footage on there, including entire Afrofuturist short film that I shot in Haiti. That was in both English and Creole. It was fucking amazing, right?
Have I seen this?
No. I mean, maybe you've seen a clip of it on Instagram.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it was called Legba's Joke, and I was so proud of it because I just wrote it on the fly.
Yeah.
And, literally had a whole dictionary of Creole words
Y'all.
and phrases. Yeah.
Paul, this human, is a fucking genius. Let me tell you, oh my God.
Thank you.
Honestly, I've said this before, with the script of Willow, which we'll get to, you've created an entire new fucking world with its own laws. That's not an easy thing to do. But you created all these characters and arcs and plot lines, and it's you're traveling between worlds. So now you're imagining multiple worlds.
Yeah.
Within the same series. And then just the way that you edit is also so good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So back to
Oh.
the story of you losing your stuff.
Yes. Okay. So all that's happening. I have all this footage. I at the time was like, oh, it's too expensive to back up on the iCloud. I don't do that anymore, for obvious reasons, right? But I was moving to my place. I basically was like couch surfing for a while because it was hard to just find like any housing. Like when you're in New York, it just takes a while. And so I finally found a place. I was moving. It was the same day. It was like right after work. And my coworkers were like, "Hey, we want to go watch the Women's World Cup." And I was like, "All right, bet. Let me try to bond, yada yada." You know. I go to take a phone call for like one of these projects to talk to one of the writers. And when I came back, my stuff that I was taking with me to move into the apartment, like everything was untouched apart from the book bag, right? And before I go on, like this is what happened. I thought to myself, if I keep everything really valuable in one location, then I'll be safe. Like I can just keep it on me, and like I won't
Except you took that thing off.
Yes, I know.
And then walked out, leaving that thing there.
Like for a very prolonged period. Like alcohol makes you do terrible things, and for me, I was like, I can talk for hours. I mean, I think I was like away for it for a while, like talking on the phone. I didn't realize how much time has passed, right? So I came back and that shit was gone, like gone.
And what was
yeah?
What was in this book bag?
Oh, okay. A MacBook Air, a MacBook Pro, a Canon T6i or T5i, all my memory cards, a new like unopened package of a external hard drive along with 3 other hard drives. All the
Dear
shit.
God.
Yeah, like all of the shit that I needed.
Yeah.
Gone. What?
Well, so then after that, you started a GoFundMe.
Yeah, which
You were like, "Hello, my shit got stolen. I need money."
yo, shout outs to Yamisha Alcindor. She sent me like 200 because I didn't reach the goal by any means. But one of my like old friends from way back was like, "Yo, like put this towards remaking that film."
Yeah.
Like, I mean, which felt great because she loved the film I shot in Haiti, or like at least the clip that I put up. But yeah, I think it took a lot for me to kind of get out of that. Like for a while, I just felt really discouraged because, the stuff that I was putting out was really, really fucking good. And, if any of you like edit for a living, like you have to build up an entire portfolio of not just your work, but your workflow. So where all your graphics are situated, what all of your like your stock footage, you know what I mean? All of that was already arranged. It was done. I had a whole bunch of unreleased stuff that I was really working on. I was trying to do this whole it was almost the birthplace of like the Afrofuturism that you see in Willow. That I had like another series I wanted to do before that I barely remember what the fuck it really is anymore. Do you know what I mean? That along with, I think just it was a lot. It was a hard thing to get through. I cried a lot, and I definitely was triggering to try to even get back into creating my own work, because then I would constantly be reminded of the work that I lost. That was one of those things that like I had to slowly but surely accept it and just be like, all right, I'll never get it back, and like it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's also very liberating once you get over that hump. Do you know what I mean? Then you feel like, hey, nothing can fucking hurt me now. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, that does, so you have your own production company. I have my own production company. And so I wanted us to talk about those low moments and like, how do we deal with, like what do we do when we're discouraged, but also like every month is not always a good month in terms of business.
Oh, yeah.
And like, how do we deal with that?
Yeah. Oh, good segue. All right. Host then. Okay. Here's my dish. There's always going to be low moments. I think for every business owner, you need to know what your slow months are. And generally speaking, my advice that I give to business owners, and especially if you work in this field in production, that's when you want to work on your own like projects, your own passion projects. Yeah. You're creating basically a proof of concept, or, some people like to do specs and stuff. I think if you have a creative like side of you, that's where it comes out, right? So there's always the, here's my production reel from the year. Let me, put up all the things I've done in the past 2 years or so, like online. Yes, totally. Like, what do you call it? Update your portfolio. But once that's done, the best form of advertising is to put out what you want to put out.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of times it's hard to kind of get to that place emotionally, because there's always that pressure to have to make money. I have to pay rent. We live in New York, rent's insane. So, you know what I mean? It's hard to
Also
be
insane in LA.
oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
my God. It's kind of sad. The two, in my opinion, best cities in the United States are like the most expensive to live in.
Yeah.
But it kind of, I mean, it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's the tax for not having to live in a state that's like, you know, the governor's like Brian Kemp or George DeSantis or whatever. What's the guy's name? Not DeSantis. Yeah, DeSantis. What's the
Yeah,
guy's?
yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, I love Florida as a state with good weather and food. Oh,
I was
God.
like, I'm sorry, what do we like about Florida?
I-
It's so funny. I've actually, and we're totally going on a tangent here.
Okay,
The
bad,
last
bad.
thing I'm going to say, though, is
Yes.
I now know quite a few amazing musicians from Florida.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they love Florida as their like hometown.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Like, you even saying that, like, shocked me a little bit. I'm like, they love Florida? Oh, as a hometown. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
That's a qualifier.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah. What I was going to say is, for me, the other part of that has also been like, you know, being Black and brown creators,
Mhm.
is that, you know, the personal projects is a part where we get to tell the stories that we want to see and then try and make that commercial,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And pitch that and get the money to do something bigger.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you know, there's also the other side of it being like, just give us the freaking money.
Yeah. Like, you know I'm talented. What's up? Like, yeah.
That goes back to the point of us needing to work even harder.
Yeah. It's a what you call it? It's oh gosh, you know, it reminds me of like okay, so not a tangent but related.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we feel like we need to do we give ourselves self qualifiers.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't do this project or this one passion project that I really wanted to do because I don't have the crew or I don't have the right equipment or, you know, my camera isn't right. It's too, you know, I just have a DSLR or whatever. What I've come to realize, and this is actually a lesson that I took from my early years when I was just like, I didn't give a fuck and I was just creating stuff. You use what you have. Yeah. Like always. Like there's never a moment where it feels right. It's never going to feel right. You just dive into it. In those low moments, it's almost a practice of ignoring all of what feels like your intuition, but really it's just like fear and this very natural feeling of wanting to stop yourself. Yeah. And just kind of like barreling forward and doing the shit that you want to do. Yeah.
Well, I would say that that's also part of the whole like needing to be creative part, because, you know, you have to make, you know, being creative is not just coming up with the story, but it's also how do you get creative in executing. Right? Those are also decisions that you're making as a director, as a producer, as an editor, right? What resources do you have? What can I do within the budget that, right? I think that like having worked on projects that have more funding, I can't argue that having more funding necessarily means you're going to have a better product.
Ooh, talk about it. Right. Yeah.
If you don't have the right people on the project making the right decisions.
Ooh, gosh. I mean, like, okay, this just reminds me of like a story. I don't know if I should tell it now or if it's.
You can tell it now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, to give you an example of like people in positions where they make the wrong decision, this also goes to like a lesson for first-time filmmakers. The overall lesson, and I'll tell you the story, is, you know, you want to know what you know and know what you don't know. And swallow your ego and allow professionals or people that you hire to do the job to do their job. Like micromanaging is like the worst thing you can do, especially when you're out of your element or whatever, right? Recently, I had a client, oh gosh, I mean, there were so many red flags, but I went ahead for it because it was like, you know, I do this a lot where if I find a really good project, I'm going to make certain sacrifices in order to make it happen. What ended up happening is that I was put in touch with this first-time filmmaker, you know, I'll keep the name and everything, whatever, completely anonymous, but they wanted to do this documentary that I felt like it was something that I'd never seen before. And you know my nonprofit. It's a nonprofit production company, right? So that's what we do. We tell stories of Black, Indigenous, people of color. We, you know, people who are formerly incarcerated, immigrants, like that's my thing, and queerness, right? Like and it was like, it hit on so many different aspects,
Yeah.
right? So I basically made the sacrifice of basically performing 6 different positions because they didn't have the budget to have a full crew. So instead of like, just doing the camera or cinematography, which a lot of times is pulled on to do cinematography or like direct, I did the audio, I did the lighting, I did the grip work.
So this was one-man band.
One-man band.
Yeah.
One-man band. And like, it was fine. The problem was, as a first-time filmmaker, they did not know how to deal with being on set. And I'll be specific. Like they had a meltdown.
Oh no.
Yes, like during the interview.
No.
And like
During the interview.
yes,
Oh, no.
lambasted the guest for
Your
not
one job is to make the talent feel comfortable. They don't make you feel comfortable.
Yo, I can't tell you, like my heart sank when it happened because it was already a bad start because they didn't do the research. And didn't do the research. Didn't take my advice. I'm an Emmy award-winning producer.
Well, this is a podcast of
what
not to do.
What not to do. Like what not to do. Like homie, like I've been in journalism for over a decade.
Yeah.
And like the advice I gave was like,
sorry, I spoke over you saying that you're an Emmy winning.
oh yes, right. Like let me say it again. Emmy award-winning producer. And like, right? So I'm like, yo, like it was a simple, like I gave like small advice of like, hey, we're talking about a subject that deals with the justice system.
Yeah.
You gotta know the laws and things that are involved in order
Yeah.
to ask the right questions to the subject. But even more basic, I was like, yo, don't ask yes or no questions. Everyone knows that. Have open-ended answers. You want an open-ended answer? Ask an open-ended question. Not, do you do this or did you feel this way? But how did you feel?
Yeah. So how did they receive that feedback?
They said, I know.
Oh.
And the very like sassy parent in me was like, if you knew, I wouldn't have to tell you. I didn't say it out loud, but I was thinking to myself, I'm like, excuse me, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that was already a bad start.
Yeah.
But then they kind of realized how much they screwed up during the interview process. And they were frustrated because they did like a pre-interview, but it was recorded on shitty audio.
Yeah.
It was on the phone and everything. So we had to do an on-camera interview using like the Sony FS7, all this really good stuff. But they were getting frustrated that they weren't getting the same response as the pre-interview. And I'm like, okay, like that's okay. Like mistakes happen, but keeping like control of the situation as best you can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I just came off of a 4-day shoot filming 6 different people in 8 different locations. And
jeez. Like what? 4 days? Oh.
Let me tell you, Paul.
What's up?
I am a fantastic producer.
Hell yeah.
And I have a great team who supported me. And we had no issues. And in fact, the crew, this was actually the crew that I was working with, it was actually the first time that I was working with them. I had known them, but I hadn't worked with them.
Yeah.
And something that I often get when I work with new people is that they tell me that I'm very calming and that I am calm.
You are.
I just feel like that's my main job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've played many different roles on sets before. I've been a DP. I've been a director. I've been a PA. I've been, a producer. And in all of those roles, I've always been like, everybody else is gonna be chaotic, right? Because it's a set. Things are moving fast.
Yeah.
We need to, like, there's no room to actually stop. And anything can go wrong because it's live.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to be able to pivot and do things on the fly. And there's so many different personalities. And as a producer, my job is to produce.
Yeah.
And I can't be losing my shit.
Nah, right?
Because that's immediately going to affect the entire vibe of the set.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden everybody's going to be grumpy.
Yeah.
And not going to want to work.
Can I add on that?
Yeah.
You're so spot on. This can translate to a lot of different fields, just for those who aren't into film and everything else. The idea is this, like, if you don't want the person that is working for you to start weighing the options of whether or not this job is worth it, because at that point, that's when you lose them, right? you want to make it as fun, and it can't always be fun. It can be there. Like you said, there's gonna be stressful moments. Equipment might not arrive on time. One of the actors may be late. All these wild things can happen. However, intrinsically, your attitude on how you address these different shortcomings or these different types of setbacks is going to dictate the success of that entire process. And for me, like, you know how I am, like, right? I'm always like the jovial. I'll be like, yes, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
And that is like, it's both like naturally who I am, but also strategically, it is how we keep things moving forward, right? Like, if we know, like, hey, I'm not gonna melt down and be like, why isn't this still working? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if it's just like, all right, well, we got this. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
That's going to give them the confidence to do their work, and they're not going to sit there and start thinking about other things that have nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And also, it's just not, if a problem arises on set or in the editing process, right? It doesn't have to be during production. It could even be whatever, right? During casting, like, there's nothing that's going to come out of you throwing a fit.
Tantrums solve nothing. They don't solve anything. Yeah.
And also, somebody, also, like, it could be, if I'm the producer, the director could be the one throwing the fit.
Right.
And what I'm going to add to that energy?
Right.
No. Like, I need to de-escalate.
Right.
And be like, okay, we have this problem. Let's find the solution.
Right. Good leadership overall, it has to deal with that type of behavioral psychology where it's not just, I have the right idea on how to do this and follow my vision and that's it. No, it's how do you approach that? How do you convey that to people in different personalities?
Yeah.
So.
And also, it's so funny because, like, when I'm directing, I, like, want to do everything out of budget. And then when I'm producing, I'm like fighting with the director to keep things in budget.
Yeah. Oh, I'm guilty of that. Come on. Because when it's like your artistic vision, it's just always, oh God, it's hard, what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's always, I feel like that's always a fun dynamic to play with, for me at least.
Yeah. Well, okay, wait. So I'm your producer.
Yes.
On Willow.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, I had so many wild ideas. Thank you.
But yeah, well, like, what has that been like for you?
It's been fun.
Okay, good.
It's been really fun. Yeah. I mean, Avi, but to give details, what I like is that you're able to take a step back, and I think you always approach it this way, where you're like, okay, let's give you the playground to play.
Yeah.
And then you kind of like reel it in, like, okay, let me explain to you. Maybe this might be a bit much, but here we can get this thing. I really like your style of like producing. It's very, very,
Thank you.
very, very simpatico. You know what I mean? Like, very nice.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, yeah, because also, again, being a director, I know that, like, we want the things that we want.
Yeah.
And so,
right.
For me, and I think, I can't recall where it was that I heard this, who told me it, but somebody at some point in my life was like, don't say no without giving them a yes. Don't, like, go to your team or your manager or whatever and say we have a problem and not have any suggestions for a solution.
I mean, that's what makes constructive criticism like constructive criticism. It's not just giving what's wrong, but I think allowing for that solution or giving not just space for a solution, but already doing the work for them.
Yeah.
It alleviates so much stress. Do you know what I mean? It's stressful for you to figure it out. I think that's also almost like the hidden tax, if it makes any sense, of like producing or like being a business owner or anything. Most of the hard stuff you have to do for your employees or for your contractors or for the people that you're like working for, even your clients. They may not come with the solution and you can't expect them to. You have to kind of do that work yourself and then like push it over towards them while saying like, here's a solution. Also, we can't do that other shit you were talking about. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's what you call it. It's an art.
The message of this podcast is
yes. What is the message?
With empathy.
Lead with empathy. Yes. I was following your lead. I was like, what is the message? Oh, shit. I'm trying to make eye contact. Are you going to like ESP it to me? No? Okay. All right. I'm going to let you say it. Go.
That is all the time we have for this episode.
Oh shit! Damn, that went by really fast.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, this is fun. This is like 5. I feel like it was like 5 minutes.
It was not.
It wasn't at all.
No, it's been 30 minutes.
Girl, what?
Yeah.
Where's the clock in this place?
Right there.
I wanna. Wow. Oh, you were what? Dang, you had the timer down packed. All right. Well, what's the sign off? What do we do?
Rate, comment, subscribe, wherever you're listening to podcasts. Peace.
Rate and comment, subscribe.